If you found this video, you're probably one of the thousands of Airbnb hosts across the world who are really concerned about what's going on with this coronavirus thing and essentially what it's been doing to your business. The lack of revenue that's been coming in, all of the cancellations that you've had, and you essentially trying to figure out, how do I protect myself moving forward? So in this video, I'm going to discuss some strategies that you can implement right now to protect yourself, to ensure that you get to keep your home, your property, and ensure that you'll be in a better place financially. With that being said, let's get started. My first recommendation is to turn your short-term rental into a long-term rental as soon as possible, like right now. As you can see, Airbnb doesn't have your back. They essentially canceled everyone's reservations and pretty much have left you in the dust. So you got to figure out what you need to do to protect and keep your property and hopefully keep it from going into foreclosure. Now, so how do you do that? Well, given that your place is currently a short-term rental, it's more than likely fully furnished, it's got decorations everywhere, and most people looking for a long-term rental option want to bring their furniture with them. So you need to consider, well, one, you need to determine, can you currently rent your place out with it being furnished? So what I would do is start posting your place up, Craigslist, any other website where you can essentially place your place for rent. Zillow.com, probably rent.com, and see if you can get some traction, if people are willing to take over your place and live in it for the foreseeable future, because no one really knows how long this thing is going to last. I said to myself, if this thing goes into the summer months, we're in deep trouble. So you need to react now. Don't sit on the sidelines thinking that this is going to be over in a month or two and then try to recoup your money then. You're playing a very dangerous game that to me is not worth the risk. What you could do to yourself now is protect yourself by having someone move in immediately, even if the rent is going to be cheaper. As you know, having a long-term tenant, you're not going to make as much as Airbnb, but what would you rather do in this situation? Would you rather make no money with no one booking and no one traveling? Or would you rather at least get some income now through a long-term tenant to cover you in some capacity? If you can't find someone to move in long-term because your place is furnished, considering moving your furniture out and putting it in storage, at least the bigger items like a bed, a dresser, a dining table, big things that people tend to move in with. Maybe you'll be able to keep the pictures and some of the decorations that are around. It's something you can negotiate for a potential long-term tenant. One thing to be careful of is that a lot of people are losing their jobs. So when you do decide to go the long-term route, ensure that you're still protecting yourself and not bringing someone on board who can potentially lose their job or has already lost their job. So be wary of people in the bar and restaurant industry, because if they haven't lost their job yet, they might. So the last thing you want to do is have someone move in and they're not able to pay the rent. And with the new laws that they've passed right now, you can't really evict them. So you got to be very mindful about who you bring in. Ensure they have a steady job and verify that by the last 2 pay stubs and get the most recent pay stub before they actually move in. That way you can still prove that they're still employed. Perhaps you can even call their employer and find out if that's something that's legal in your state. That's just an option. So that's one thing to make sure you consider. Now, option number 2 is to consider someone for the 3 to 4 month range instead of someone staying for 9 or 12 months. Now, I'm specifically talking about people in the medical field, like travel nurses. Travel nurses have assignments that are typically 3 to 4 months, and they hop around from hospital to hospital all over the country. So given this pandemic, there's a huge need for nurses and medical staff all over the country, especially in states like California and New York. So if you live in one of those states and you live fairly close to a hospital, this could be a good opportunity for you to consider. These nurses are going to have stable jobs and they get paid very well. They're getting crisis pay now. And I have a friend who's in the healthcare recruitment field, and there are so many jobs available, and they're trying to fill them up as much as they can. So there are all travel nurses out there who are looking for places to live. So if you could convert your, your short-term rental to something where someone can stay for 3 to 4 months, it's a huge opportunity for you to get someone to come in and stay at your place. So you might be asking, well, how do I find travel nurses, and where do I go to let them know that I have a place available? Well, there's various Facebook groups that I've used in the past to attract travel nurses to my listing. And what I'll do is provide a few names in the description and links so that you can go and check those out and you can sign up. It usually takes about a day or two for you to get accepted to join the group, because they just, it's not an open group. They just don't let anyone join. So you just have to say who you are and what you're offering, and typically you'll get accepted, and you can post that you have a place available, here's the price, here's the location, and be sure to list what hospitals are nearby, and hopefully that should help you out. If you haven't realized how important this is now, it's extremely important to have enough money in an emergency fund for situations just like this. Just like a long-term rental, you want to make sure that you're putting money every month aside and building up an emergency fund for situations very similar to this. Or, if for whatever reason you can't have people staying at your place, you want to make sure that you have enough money to cover your mortgage for at least 3 months. If you have been spending all the money that you've gotten to date and you don't have an emergency fund, it's going to be tough. But hopefully this is a lesson that is not going to hurt you in the long term. So moving forward, when things start to settle down, make sure you're building up that reserve fund. To recap, I talked about 2 options. The first option is to turn your short-term rental into a long-term rental. Do that immediately. Don't wait. I don't think this thing is going to blow over in a month or two. I think this could go into the summer months. And if it does stop by, let's say, June, how quickly are people going to start booking travel and travel immediately? We don't know that yet. So I would try to get someone in the house, in your home, as soon as possible and get as much revenue as you can now versus trying to wait this out. Option number 2 is to go the travel nurse route. As I mentioned before, the need for travel nurses is huge right now across the country. They get paid well and they have very stable jobs. So if you're looking for someone that could stay for 3 or 4 months, this could be a perfect opportunity for you. As you can see, I'm currently filming this in my garage. I'm actually using this as storage because I'm bringing in a long-term renter, and they're going to be bringing some stuff with them. So I'm going to be taking some furniture that's already in my place and putting it in here. I'm moving pretty quickly on this, and I suggest you guys do too. The advice I'm giving you is what I'm doing for myself. And, given what's going on, we're not in a position to wait and see what's going to happen. You need to act now to protect yourself. So again, follow these recommendations, and if you don't follow them, make sure you have a contingency plan in place and that you have enough money to protect yourself for at least 3 months in case things don't improve. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel and click on that notification button. Again, I wish you guys the best and good luck.